Hello and welcome to Breathing Design. In this video, we are going to be learning how to create a 3D view with a landscape diagram. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to be doing is create a base that is going to be for the entire model. So for that, there are two things that we can do. Either we create a model in place or we can use a floor. Either of the things can work out for you. So I'm going to go ahead with the floor option. So select floor and make sure the thickness is a little higher, say 1 feet 6 inches. Press OK. Alright, so I want something a little more thicker than this, so I'm just going to go change that to maybe 3. Alright, so this is good enough for the base. So on this base, we're going to be placing all of our elements from here onwards. Alright, so the first thing we'll be doing is basically place the 3D model. So the 3D model that I'll be using in this video is of an apartment, and this is what the apartment model looks like. And I've created a tutorial on this as well. So you can find that in our YouTube channel. It is right here, how to model a multi-story building in Revit. Please go ahead and check that out. I'll be linking that in my description box. Please do check it out. And once you're done modeling that or any other building, all you have to do is select everything, press here on copy to clipboard, and now come back to your existing model. Okay, and under paste, go to align to selected levels and make sure it is checked to level 1 and press OK. Alright, so this is automatically been placed and this is what it looks like. If you want, you can just rotate it. Alright, so this is where the model is placed. So what I'll be doing is change the boundary to match with this model. So go to edit boundary, bring this a little closer. Alright, so this looks good enough, and these are the elevation views, so I'll just move those a little away. Alright, so here we have it. I'll hide these views as well since we'll not be needing it. Alright, so this is what it looks like. So let's move ahead with modeling of the road. So for that, again, go to your floor plan and start with model in place. Pick site under the category and let's name it as road. Okay, so the first thing here again, it will be the shoulder. So let's set the plane to our floor base that we just created and create a boundary for the shoulder. So the width of this will be 2 feet. Okay, and the height is a little too much. We'll not be needing a height as high as this. So let's just change the extrusion end to 1 inch. Alright, so that should be enough. And we'll maintain the height to 1 inch throughout the road. Okay. And once we're done with the shoulder, let's create a solid line. So the width of the solid line will be 1 feet. Press OK. So we'll keep the solid line just a little bit higher than the other surfaces just to, make it visibly a little different. And once we're done with the solid line, the next thing will be a roadway, and we'll keep the width of that to 12 feet. Okay, and after the roadway comes another solid line, so we'll just copy paste this one like this. And after this solid line comes a sidewalk, and for that let's create another extrusion. We'll keep this to 4 feet 6 inches, and to end the entire roadway we'll be adding another solid line, and that will mark the end of the road. Alright, so let's give the extrusions of all of this to 1 inch. Alright, so once we're done with that, let's add crossing. For that, we'll create an extrusion and set the plane to top of this roadway and create a boundary. Okay, and we'll just align the top of this line to the solid line. Select the top of your solid line and then the top of your crossing, and these two will be at the same level. And now let's just copy paste these, and to make sure they're at equal distances, select your copy option, make sure multiple is checked, and select this end of the line and the end of this line. Alright, so as you can see, the distance is 11 inches throughout. Alright, so we'll not be needing this one. So click on finish model, and this is what it looks like. So we have finished with the road. We'll later on be adding the colors and everything, but for now this is what it looks like. And after finishing up with the road, let's add curbs for planters. So there are basically two ways of doing this again. So I'll just quickly go ahead and show you both the ways of doing it, and you can pick whichever works best for you. So the first one is again by creating an extrusion. And for that, all you have to do is go to architecture, model in place, and pick a casework, and let's call that curbs. And create an extrusion, set the plane to your floor, and create the boundary. And let's add curves on all of the corners like this. Make sure you're using the same distance in all of the four corners. And if you don't want to, if you find it confusing, just create one and place a model line right at the center like this, and another one like this. And now what you can do is just mirror this by using the mirror option and pick this axis. And now select both of these, pick the mirror axis again and mirror it on these sides. So like this, you can create equal curves on all the four sides, and then we'll just trim the ends. Alright, and delete the model lines. And once you've created the boundary, let's create another boundary with an offset of 6 inches towards the inside. Make sure you pick all of the lines. Let's trim and extend this one. Alright, so once that is done, press on OK. And in the 3D view, this is what it looks like. And this is a more simpler way of doing it. You'll get a little sharper edges, but if you want to keep it a little more detailed and keep it more neat, the conventional method of adding curves is like this. So you've created a floor basically, and let's edit the boundary wherever we're going to place the curves. Okay. Um, Make sure you use reference planes every time you're creating something. It makes the process a lot more easier, and you can get the work done with precision. Okay, so I've set the boundary. You don't have to create an offset boundary, that will not be required in this case. Just edit the boundary of the floor that you had created, the base floor that you had created. Okay, so as you can see, this is the place where the curves are gonna come, and to create the curves we'll be editing a profile. So to do that, go to File and go to New and select Family, and under this go to English Imperial or any of the families that you've loaded, and you'll have a bunch of profiles like this. And here pick an empty profile, and this is what comes up. And here you can create any profile that you want to, and for the curves the profile is going to look something like this. So we'll give this 8, 6, and here we'll give it a curve. So for these, I'm not going too much into the detailing part because that will just be like a whole another subject to teach. So if you want to learn all of this in detailing, please reach out. I'll be happy to teach you. Okay, so this is basically the profile of a curve. If you're not familiar with the profiles, you can always Google it. Like if you want a profile of, you know, a shoulder or a sidewalk or a column or anything like that, just Google it, see what it looks like, look for its dimensions, and create one like this. So once you've created this, press on Load into Project. And before that, just save this. So that go to save as and go to family, and make sure you save this properly in whatever name that is okay with you. Save it first and then go to load into project, and make sure you pick the right project that you're working on. And once you've done that, go to 3D, and under 3D go to architecture and drop down on the floor and select slab edge. Okay, and here as you can see, we have this default slab edge profile, and go to edit type, and here click on duplicate and name this to curve. And under profile, if you've loaded it, it'll come inside, and mine is family 3. Make sure you save it properly and select that profile and press on OK, and just select the lines where you want to place it, like this. So automatically all of your profiles will get placed. Make sure you're selecting the boundary correctly. Alright, so once you've done that, this is what it looks like. And as you can see, the edges are a little more smooth, and this is the right way of creating profiles and loading them into your project. So similarly like this, we'll be creating a couple more planters. Just go to edit boundary, and if you don't want to create another boundary, you can always just copy paste the same boundary over here and here as well, and press OK. And then you can only place profiles in the 3D view. Okay, make sure of that. Alright, so once we're done with that, let's add another floor slab over here inside of these planters for the grass. So for that, select floor and pick another floor, and for the boundary we'll just pick the ends of these. Press OK. Alright, so this is what it looks like. Okay, so once you're done with that, to add a little more landscaping, let's add another block over here, and on top of that block we'll be placing a couple of trees and side benches. Okay, and to create that block, again you have two methods of creating blocks. One is by massing, and that is by placing a mass, and another one is by creating a model in place. So I'll be going ahead with modeling place and pick site and name it as a block. Let's keep the height to maybe 4 feet or 5 feet. Yeah. This should be enough. And on top of this, I'll be creating a landscape where I'm going to place the trees, and I'm going to add a little bit of undulations on it, like a little bit of curves. So this is my way of doing it when I'm creating a diagram, just for the sake of representation. This is not an actual, um, you know, actual Revit drawing, and for that you need to be precise, and you have to go ahead with site topography, and you have to set the levels right, and you can learn all of that in the tutorial that I just mentioned about previously. But this is just for the sake of the diagram. And to create that undulations, what I'm going to do is go to the front view like this, okay, and press on create extrusion and set the plane to the front of this block like this, okay. And let's create a little bit of height here, and then let's take uh, the width till the midpoint. And after this, now either I can join this as a straight line like this, you know, or I can create a little bit of curves. And to do that, you have to pick the spline option. As you can see, with this option, the model looks a little more curvy and not straight. And just join this. Okay, as you can see, it's curvy like this. And once you've done that, just set the extents correctly. Let's bring it to end of this and here. So we've basically created an undulated surface like this. Okay, this is one way of doing it. And then over here we'll be adding some trees. So just click on finish model, and we've created the block, and this is where the sidewalk will be. And then right in front of this, let's create stairs by going to the stair option and select the precast stair, and let's give 8 risers. That should be enough, and change the width to 10 feet, and make sure it is aligned to the end of this block, and move it to this end. Alright, press OK, and this is what it looks like. And if you want to keep the railings, you can keep it, or you can just delete it, or you can also change it to pipe, glass, anything you want. Okay, so I'm not going to actually keep the staircase over here. I'm going to move it next to this planter. So let's quickly move that. Alright, and let's edit the boundary of this. Okay, select the floor, edit boundary, and we'll have the planter until this end. Something like this. And let's edit this boundary as well. Alright, So if you want to keep the railings, you can keep it, or you can always just delete those. And yeah, next to the staircase, I would like to add. Alright, so next to the staircase, I would like to add a sloping area. Again, I'm going to use the same method that I used for this undulation, but it'll just be on a bigger scale. So for that, let's go to the back view, or you can create a section right in front of this, flip it, okay, and go to this section. And here I'll be creating the sloping area. For that, again go to component, model in place, sites, and then, okay, that is specialty equipment, slope. And let's create an extrusion. And let's pick the plane as this side of the staircase. So that is where it will be extruding from, okay? Let's set the boundary. And let's pick spline to create undulations. Something like this, and press on OK. And just set the extent to the end. Alright, so as you can see, this is how the slope can be created, like this. Okay, so once we're done with these things, let's just add the components. Okay, before we go ahead and add the components, let's just add colors and textures to these. You can go with two things. One is the shaded view, which I will be creating now, or if you want a more realistic view, you can go ahead with realistic views as well. For conceptual diagrams and stuff like that, I usually prefer shaded views because they're more visibly nicer. Okay, let's add materials to all of the elements now. First, let's select the roadway and go to edit in place and select all of the white line elements like this. And under material, pick something white and make sure use render appearance is checked on, and pick the white color and click on apply. Okay, and then similarly for the sidewalk, I am going to use a new material, and I'm gonna name that sidewalk. And I will use a pinkish color like this. Okay, and for the roads, I will be using either the asphalt material, um, okay, let's use this and make sure the color is not too dark. Alright, so like this we have created the road, and then click on finish, and for the grass over here, select that. Make sure you duplicate this to grass so that it's always easier to differentiate between materials. and create a new material as well called grass, and then pick a grass by going to site work, and over here you can pick anything, then click on apply. Okay, alright, so this is what it looks like. And similarly here, go to edit and place, and you can change the material to grass here as well. So wherever you've used grass, you can change it. Or if you want the color to be if you're just going for colors, and if you do not like the color, either go ahead and try using something different, like a different grass like this, so that the color changes. Or you can just go here, uncheck this button and change the color. So that way, you can pick whichever color you want to. Or if you're going for realistic views, go and pick the right grass for yourself. And then once you're done, click on finish model. So once we're done with that, let's just give this block a material. Let's just keep this to gypsum board material. It's just plain white, nothing else, like this. If you separately want to add a sidewalk here, you can always go ahead and model a floor with a smaller thickness and then add a sidewalk, a pavement material for it. You can always go ahead and do that. Since I don't want to do those things, I'm just gonna leave it empty like this. And now let's change the colors of this a bit. Select everything. Right click, override, and change it to white. Gray. And then let's add a different shade to these. Something like this. So like this, you can change the colors, or you can play around with it. I'm just showing you how do we do it. Okay, so once you've done that, if you want to change the material of this or the color of this to concrete, you can do that as well. Go here and change it to concrete. Okay, this is what it looks like. As you can see, the surface pattern also has come up to this. So similarly, you can pick anything, any color or any surface pattern that you want to. I won't be needing that. I'm just going to keep it gray as it was before. It looked better. So I'll just keep it as it is. And then now, finally, I will be adding a couple of families, landscaping families. And for that, I have these families. You can download these families on our website. Go to your browser and type breathing design. And this is our website. And over here, if you click on download option, you can download all of these Revit families that are for free, and you can change its material and size and everything. So here you have this industrial loft, which is an entire project that you can download. So you can download. I'll be uploading all of these families over here, so you can come here and download. And the link to this will be mentioned in the description box. Do check it out. So let's go ahead and add those trees. drag and drop them like this. Make sure they are placed properly at a correct elevation. Alright, so similarly like this, you can add other trees as well. Since it is above this block, you'll have to set the height and place and everything properly. Otherwise, you can just use the level 1 as your reference level. Okay, let's add the same trees over here as well. I'll just place that in level 1. So here automatically the trees will get placed on this grass. Okay, and now let's add some cars. So again, these families will be available for you to download it. Make sure everything is placed correctly. Alright, and then let's add some street lights on the sidewalk. Like this. And some side benches. Since this is not a floor, um, they are getting placed on the floor. You can change that in 3D view. You can just change the elevation to the top of this. So that is around 5.6 or 5.4. Yeah, you just need to change the elevation a little bit because it's a casework. So once you've placed one like this, you can just copy paste it as many as you want. Alright, and then finally let's add some human entourages. Like this. So this is what your diagram looks like. If you want to make it more presentable, let's go to your graphic display options and remove the edges and add smooth lines. So that gives that effect. And then let's add some shadows. Okay, and let's add some ambient shadows as well. If you feel like it's too much, just remove it, it's not an issue. And then finally let's adjust the lighting. Okay, so this looks good, and this is how you create a diagram in Revit. So similarly like this, you can use any 3D model that you want to. Just create a base like I just taught you, and then start adding elements on top of these like this. Okay. Thank you so much for watching the video. You will find the link to all of these families that I just placed in on our website. So please go over there and download it. It's super easy to download, and then follow this tutorial and let me know how it works out for you. Thank you so much.